the other day, and now there's quite a few of you. And I also just wanted to say thanks to the other members of the Community Engaged Internship Committee for being here. I see Emily and Matt and Sarah. We have some new folks that are also joining us, so that's great. One thing that we wanted to just touch on right away is that there have been some changes in the program over the this last year. We no longer have funding from the National Sea Grant Office to support a fellow plus a summer fellowship and a coordinator. But that doesn't mean that this program is going to stop. It had always been run by a committee before we had a national coordinator. And so we're just going back to our old model of running this by committee and just working together as a team across the National Sea Grant Network to put this together and keep it running. So thanks to everyone who's jumped in to help us with that. Dynasty was a real powerhouse, and she really brought a lot of energy to this program, and we will miss her, but we'll continue. And we'll keep providing these opportunities to students. Okay, next slide. So today we'll keep this relatively short, but we just wanted to give you an overview of the program itself if you're not familiar with it, and also if you are, just to give you an update on where we are and what we're planning to do next. So we'll talk a little bit about the program itself. For some of you, this might be a little bit of a review. We'll talk a little bit about past accomplishments, some of the metrics we've met, and then we'll go into recruitment strategies and what we can expect over the summer. Next slide, which I think is our video.
Yeah,
so
just jump to the
this is a very inspiring video, so hopefully this will get you inspired to participate and have some of your students participate.
Do you have the video on the screen share?
Yes.
Sea Grant internships connect future scientists to communities and communities to the future of science. One example of that is our Community Engaged Internship Program, or CI program, that connects students from different communities to internships in marine and coastal sciences. To date, we've seen over 400 students participate in CI programming, from our professional development to our mentorship opportunities, as well as an in-person 4-day experience where students go to the coast of North Carolina to learn about the blue economy and all of our culture and the things that we're working on here in Sea Grant.
I knew this would be a good summer to try to further my academic training, but also gain real life skills and knowledge to help me in whatever I plan to do in the future. So, and I'm very passionate about community engagement, especially in communities that don't get a lot of representation.
Sort of hearing what they want from me has been a really eye-opening experience, and I haven't yet had that opportunity to work with people on the ground. So getting that communication out of it has been really helpful.
You can read as many articles as you want. You can have as many theories or ideas of what's going on in the field, right? Until you actually talk to the people involved, you will not get a full picture.
Scientific research does not exist in a vacuum, and it requires our students and our scientists and our researchers to go out and actually participate and work with those communities in order to make sure that the research is impactful, that our communities have a voice in what we're doing, and to make sure that our students and researchers know exactly what our stakeholders are looking for when they're out there doing that work.
Are you going to use this space, and what way can we make sure that you're using this space as often?
Students worked on a variety of projects, including harmful algal blooms, invasive species, microplastics, boater safety, fisheries monitoring, flooding, and coastal restoration. I'm doing a workforce development internship on Long Island with the Long Island Oyster Growers Association. And that's sort of to get the industry experience, to get the hands-on, and to really understand what those farmers and those hatchery workers are doing day to day and what their struggles are.
I was tasked with writing curriculum with the Watershed Stewards Academy, which is a training academy for residents in Maryland so that they can learn how to become stewards of waterways.
I'm an intern for Minnesota Sea Grant this summer, working to enhance the Tidal Safe Twin Ports program, which deals with updating accessibility and information on accessibility for the public on these boat launch sites.
We're trying to find basically a cultural, that is to say, people-centered way of managing spotted lanternfly, which is one of this country's newest invasive species.
I'm at the University of Southern California. We're exploring kelp stewardship and using traditional ecological knowledge and contemporary science to understand what's in the kelp forest.
I've been working with Delaware Sea Grant, and we've been on like the Wilmington and Route 9 corridor, working with like urban heat and green stormwater infrastructure.
I'm interning with Urban Rivers in Chicago. My project is a lot of programming, environmental education, and translating a lot of things into Spanish.
My internship dealt with the Ice and Seagrass program in the Indian River Lagoon. Through working with community members, I was able to heighten my communication skills, and I learned how to conduct interviews with community members directly. This summer, I've had the pleasure of working at the South Carolina Sea Grant Consortium as their Contaminants of Emerging Concern intern. I've had the opportunity to assist with communication, education, and outreach efforts with contaminants of emerging concern in our region. For my project, I worked with Washington Sea Grant's Coastal Resilience Team and the State Emergency Management Hazards Analysis and Resilience Planning Team.
I am working with Boston Sea Grant and NOAA for their HAB project that they have in Kodiak. HAB is harmful algal bloom, so I'm doing some blue mussel sampling, making sure they're not toxic, and then trying radio that to the community.
I was super lucky to be working on this community stormwater project here in my hometown. And my work was to collect community input and share information regarding the new developments happening.
Part of Sea Grant's mission is to work directly in communities. By positioning our students in those communities, we're making sure that all of our research reflects all of our stakeholder needs and that our students get access to that traditional local knowledge. With that traditional local knowledge, our students are able to listen before they go out and just do research.
So you have to be willing to put aside all the things that you thought you knew and just come in with a fresh mind, be willing to learn from different people, be willing to be respectful in those times when people are talking about their lived experiences.
I learned a lot about the indigenous culture and some of the sites around Catalina. There's just the relationship between the life on land and life in the water is extremely unique at Catalina Island.
When we got into the process of speaking with, firstly, researchers involved in, invasive species management, and second of all, farmers in the Cleveland area, we kind of realized what a variety of perspectives existed, and it sort of cemented the fact that, yeah, no, this is not something that you can do alone in a lab or on a desk.
It's a really great experience for a college student, and they really take into consideration all the things that we have going on, and I think they try to cater the experience to what a college student might be going through.
The professional development series really going hand to hand on like what I was feeling as the internship was progressing. As we had the different topics come up every week, I was noticing that I wasn't alone in this experience.
When students participate in Sea Grant internships, they gain way more than just technical skills. They also gain a greater confidence in themselves as researchers. They gain greater confidence in wanting to join marine and coastal resource management careers. But more importantly, their networking opportunities are immense. They are able to connect not only with funded researchers and mentors in the Sea Grant network, but also with each other. And that near-peer mentoring and learning from each other is really what drives home the connections that our students make in these programs.
Getting to relearn what community engagement actually is and what that might look like for me and what I want to do in the future. I've always known that I want to do something in the realm of environmental science and public health, and something that combines them.
I would like to go into the more kind of public extension sector of what it means to do environmental science.
Spotted lanternfly is technically a plant stressor, which means that it does not kill its host plants directly. Nevertheless,
students are the best thing that we can invest in. They are going to be the future of the workforce. So not only are they what we are investing in today, but we're investing in a better future for tomorrow. We're investing in science of tomorrow. Our students come into our internships and they're able to get so many soft skills that help prepare them to be better scientists, help prepare them to be better community leaders, and which help prepare them to take on the roles of research and science that we are taking on today. The best part of the in-person experience was that our students finally got to be around each other and learn from each other. They were able to connect what they were learning locally to all of the work that Sea Grant is doing nationally.
I've never met anyone from Alaska. I've never met people from a lot of these different states, and just hearing about their experiences with their local environments has been super cool. We talked a lot about the Great Lakes region and the needs there versus the needs of someone from Hawaii, and understanding that whole spectrum of needs from community members.
My perspective has been expanded in the sense that there's a lot that you can do in this field. Now that I know that I can do them, that I have the ability to.
Sea Grant is a training grounds for doing good science. When students come to our internships, we want them to know that their voice matters, their work matters, and the opportunities that they take matter. Learning doesn't just stop in the lab or in classrooms. We want our students to see their work as a service not only to their community, but communities across the nation.
Great. So yeah, thanks to North Carolina Sea Grant for putting that together. It's a great, and that is on the NSGO Sea Grant page.
Are you
So
sure your tax expert is right?
take a look at it.
Sorry.
Do we get done talking about tax season?
That's going to be if I went to YouTube, that was queued up. I was trying to avoid playing a commercial, but
It's okay.
so much.
Yeah, so we also failed to introduce ourselves. So I'm David Holland. I'm the Coastal Community Resilience Specialist for Alaska Sea Grant, and I'm an anthropologist. And I have been with the Community Engaged Internship since the very beginning. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Lisa, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh. Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Eddy. I'm the Research and Education Coordinator for Virginia Sea Grant, and I am pretty brand new to the CEI committee. So thanks for welcoming me.
And that brings up one point is that our committee is made up of folks like myself that have been around since the very beginning. The CEI program came out of an idea between the traditional local knowledge community of practice and the DEI community of practice, and we came together and we talked about what kind of efforts we wanted that we saw that were really part of things that we both saw and as needs within the National Sea Grant Network, and this one rose right to the top. And we'll talk about some of the ways in which this is put together. So our goals are really to just broaden the participation in the marine and coastal sciences. And that comes in many ways. I have removed some of the slides that we used to show based on our current direction from the NSGO as well as the administration. But our mission has not changed. It is to broaden participation in the marine and coastal sciences, really uplift many people to participate, to join us as marine and coastal scientists, social scientists that work in those fields, and then to hopefully go on to graduate school and ultimately to become our colleagues. And so this has not changed, and we will continue to work on that through this program. Next slide. And so one of the aspects of this is really just bringing in local traditional knowledge into the enterprise of science and working with a large diversity of practitioners, knowledge holders, and others in the communities in which we work. And so, just thinking about that, there, you saw this in the video you just watched, that for some of these students, working with different knowledge systems is new. They have come out of the classroom, they are rooted in empirical science, and learning that through transdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research, you can actually uh, enhance and enrich the research and science enterprise. And I do this a lot in my own research. I work with communities here in Alaska, and I work with scientists from a variety of different fields, and we all come together and working with local communities to try to enrich that science. And it actually ultimately has much more impact on the communities where we're working, as well as the state and national efforts. Next slide. So I'm going to turn this over to or I'll talk about the program structure real quick, and then Lisa, you're going to talk about accomplishments. So it hasn't changed at all since really the beginning. We've enhanced things, but it's a 10-week, 8 to 10 week of internship. However you want to refer to that, we call it the Community Engaged Fellowship in Alaska, because fellows are paid a stipend and interns are paid a wage. So, however your program wants to organize it, everyone's welcome. And if you have an existing program, that's great. And you want to include your students in this opportunity, they can do that as well. So the summer projects are really to address coastal marine and Great Lakes issues. However you define that, you can focus on all aspects of natural and social sciences, work directly with local communities. We are, rooted in extension. So we work a lot with communities, and so that's, we really encourage our students to be able to do that. Throughout the summer, each week, or sometimes we'll skip a week there, but we have professional development opportunities. And so we ask that the students from across the network call in for these weekly webinars, and they're about an hour and a half. They're usually on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Alaska, which I think is actually 9 p.m. Hawaii during the summer. So we try to do it at a time when everybody can participate. And we have lots of different topics. These are drawn from our committee. Our committee's now composed of quite a few new participants. Since we don't have a national coordinator, what we've gone back to is actually having a chair and a vice chair. This year, I am the chair as one is the old guard, and Lisa is the vice chair as one of our newest members. And then we will start to switch each year, and somebody else will take over, and that helps keep it refreshed and keep new memberships, and you're all welcome to join us for that. And most of our efforts are really just geared towards making sure that we coordinate, we collaborate, and we put on some of these professional development webinars throughout the summer. One thing I also encourage you to do and think about is getting your students together for a kind of a kickoff type of event. We do a retreat in Alaska, for example, where we just get all of our students together for about 2 or 3 days, and just get them to know each other, to talk about what to expect over the summer, and to kind of build a small cohort here in Alaska. And then those students then weekly participate in the national cohort, and they've always reported that they really appreciate that national cohort and learning from people from across the network. There's lots of opportunities for connection, for like little breakout rooms, stuff like that, where they can talk to other students from across the country. We also have some mentorship training for mentors that we'll do first off in the first week of, we'll talk about the schedule later, but we're kind of pushing it back to the second week of June, trying to get some of our colleagues that also are on quarter systems, and their spring quarter often runs into June. So we want to make it a little later than it usually is. And so we're going to have a mentorship training right away. And we encourage the mentors of the students to participate in that. And that's been highly successful. And it really kind of helps you ground your foundation and what to expect over the summer and how to really reach out and work with your student. Things like, creating, what we do is we create an agreement between the student and the mentor, like what the student can expect from the mentor and what the mentor can expect from the student. Just keep things clear, like how often you're going to meet, how often you're going to check in, what they hope to get out of the summer, things like that. Just kind of, things like that in terms of mentorship. Um, and we also often will have Canals Fellows try to join us, and so that they get some also peer mentoring as well from that. If you have a statewide program, like for graduate students or others, we have the Alaska Sea Grant State Fellows Program, which is for postgraduate students in Alaska. We often include those students in some of our activities as well, for example, our retreat, so that the students can learn from those that have gone before them and moved on to graduate school and what to expect. And they're often, closer in age and closer in their career trajectory. And so they can learn about, hey, if I stick with this is something that maybe I can do. Next slide. So I apologize, this is an older list. I haven't completely updated it, but I just these are the members that we had last year, and the list is long. This is great because it helps with our professional development series. Our committee provides leadership and coordination and keeping things moving. The value of this is we are in the year 2026. This will be the 6th year of the Community Engaged Internship for undergraduate students. And it's really been institutionalized within our national program. And so we want to continue that and make sure that it continues and expands. We'll develop an annual timeline. The next meeting is actually tomorrow, and we're going to go through and work on putting together our professional development schedule, for example, and having that timeline ready for the summer. We'll coordinate with you. We have a spreadsheet where all of the programs can put on their coordinator. And like I said, if you have an existing undergraduate program and you want to participate and have your students participate in the weekly professional development series, please, include your name in there. And then sometime later in the spring, we're going to actually send out another spreadsheet where you can put your students' names in there, their contact information, so we can directly contact them, make sure that they're on the list. Next slide.
All right. So I'm just going to talk briefly about the accomplishments of the program to date. If you haven't been keeping up with it or you're new to the program like I am, there's some really wonderful things happening here. So it did start during the pandemic, which created this shift over to the virtual experiences, the weekly professional development, the mentoring, all the great things that Davin's touched on. And after that, they were able to secure dedicated funding twice, first through Georgia Sea Grant and then through North Carolina Sea Grant. And you'll see that come up a few more times during the slideshow. Currently, as Davin pointed out, there's no national Sea Grant support. That is something we're looking to alleviate through external sources. So the committee is looking into other external funding options. But for now, we're just focused really on keeping it going and keeping it alive through the next few years while we figure this out. The publication, the Journal of Environmental Sciences, Studies and Sciences, I can drop that in the chat at the end of the meeting if anyone's interested in reading it, and also the 2025 annual report. So if you remind me at the end, I will put those links in the chat. For the milestones, this is kind of from the beginning to where we are at the end of last year, which has us going towards the Elevating Excellence, where with the NSGO funding that was given to both Georgia and North Carolina, we had supported over 140 interns in 1 year. And moving forward, we had had the in-person experience for 2 years in a row. And now we're finding ourselves kind of circling back to building up that support again and trying to really bring up the impact of the program so that we can keep it going and continue to elevate the program. And then as we've gone along, we've been doing surveys to see how this program is impacting the students, because at the end of the day, that is what matters. And as you can see on this slide, I mean, they're great response numbers as far as how confident the students are in their ability to continue in a STEM career, or how many have engaged in mentorship following the experience. So we're obviously looking to continue those trends as we move forward. Students come from across concentrations. So we have students from history, biology, studio art, all across the board. So each program can design their own internship, however it fits their program's needs and priorities for that year. And where we are. So this is just a quick graphic to show you the growth of the program since 2020. Like we said, we'd like to continue to grow the program, like to see those numbers continue to go up. And we'd like to see some of the national coordination stick around, make sure those PD opportunities continue to be available, try to get some in-person stuff, whether it be local or at a national level, to continue to provide those opportunities for the students. All right, and then we have a couple student spotlights, but I'm going to hand it back over to Davin. He's going to talk a little about that and recruitment.
Great. Thanks. So yeah, just a couple of spotlights. We'll go through these quick because you kind of saw those in the video actually. There were some really good ones there that showed you the diversity of things that have happened. So this is a student spotlight from 2024, and a student worked in an estuary program and got to really build on a lot of different types of skills that the student had and learned some new skills. And some of those technical skills are also helpful. For example, create public GIS maps and learn how to use that, learn about regulations, all of those skills that kind of help them think about what some of the next steps are, or how they could use that in furthering their education. And it ultimately created a story map focusing on ADA compliance, which, if you haven't done that before, it's a skill in itself. And so this is kind of a cool opportunity that the student got to actually engage in an issue, but then also work on some skills and things like that that they could then use in their education. Next slide. So just a couple other intern spotlights from Florida and Texas. You can read it there, but Sophia says, I discovered passion for helping and educating others and an understanding of the values and diverse expertise in solving complex problems. This internship affirmed my desire for a career balance in community-focused work and outdoor activities. And Harvey from Texas said, my internship focused on community outreach and engagement. I learned so much about the importance of community engagement and supporting accessibility and awareness. Next slide. So how do you recruit students? And if you haven't done this already, these are just some real basics. One thing that we do is, and I'll show you here in a second, just have a flyer, something that students can see online on their webpage, and that they can easily download, that you can put out at different events. We have lots of science events in the winter in Anchorage, for example, and we put these out on our Alaska Sea Grant table. Also, one thing we do is we try to recruit mentors first. We recruit those internally through our program, and then we also reach out to our partners. For example, we are going to have 8 spots for fellows this summer, only 2 of which are supported by our Alaska Sea Grant program. And so the others come from, I have a lot of grants for some reason. So I've been able to support 3 of those fellows. Then we've got a few other colleagues that have grants as well. It's a pretty small ask for something like this compared to supporting a graduate student or a postdoc. Supporting undergrad for the summer is not a huge lift. We've also worked with the Marine Mammal Commission, for example, to support a student each summer. So, think broadly, think creatively about your partners, and who can take on and support one of these students. And then you can put those out on their webpage and show like the different things that students might expect for the summer. Like, these are the opportunities we have, and use that to recruit your students. Think about logistics, where they're going to be. That's one thing I wanted to bring up. We've often found that weather in Alaska is really bad sometimes. And so sometimes you need to make sure that your students have adequate rain gear and boots and things like that, life jackets and things like that to be out on boats. And so just think logistically about where your students will be and what kind of environment they're going to be in, and make sure you also plan for funding that. This is an example of a flyer from North Carolina, for example. Next slide. Here's the timeline. And so, Lisa, you want to take over here and talk about the timeline?
Sure. So we're just finishing up right now, at least in Virginia, with our applications for our internships. I know some people have different schedules as far as those things are concerned. So all the state Sea Grant programs at this point should be building the positions, looking for applicants, and recruiting those interns. Somewhere in May, either late April or early May, we'll be sending out a spreadsheet so that we can collect all the contact information for those students so we can invite them to the professional development webinars. So look out for that. And then we will start the week of June 8th. So it's June 10th is the Wednesday. We'll be starting with our weekly professional development series. We're going to start with kind of a welcome to the program. And then, as Davin said, go directly into the mentoring aspect. That's going to go through the first or second week of August, where we finish up with a kind of graduation online where the students get to present their projects to other students. We've had really good feedback over the last couple of years where students really enjoy sharing their work with the other students in the cohort. So we're going to finish up with that as well in August. And we should be sending out a link for the spreadsheet for professional development opportunities sometime in the next few weeks. Like Davin said, we're hoping to finish that up at tomorrow's meeting. If you are one of those people who have a wonderful professional development opportunity in your pocket that you think would be really cool to share with this group, let us know. And we'd love to have you incorporated into our schedule. And then key points, Davin, jump in if I'm forgetting anything as we go through this, but all students count, and all undergrad interns count as CEI students right now as far as the online professional development goes, as far as any of this cohort building or networking goes. At a point where we have funding for an in-person event, obviously that might change, but for right now, if you've got undergrad students, please ask them if they'd like to be involved, offer them the opportunity to get in touch with people their age who are doing similar work in different communities across the Sea Grant network. Like I said, we are looking for future funding. There's a couple things we have our eyes on. Some of them are just enough to cover that central kind of the position Dynasty held, that coordinator position, all the way through funding kind of the entire program. So we'll let you know and we'll keep you informed as we apply for those and see how that shakes out. There's a spreadsheet in the chat that I put in there for any programs that you guys have currently for state internships. Like I said, it does not have to be a CEI specific. It doesn't have to be in the omnibus as CEI. It just has to be undergrads. And then, as we noted a little earlier, if you do have a couple students coming in, consider doing your own in person if you can, an onboarding event or a networking event or just something so they get to interact with the other students in your program. Maybe there's an opportunity to do that at a regional level or with another program if you're close, depending what state you're in. But let us know if there's any way we can help with that or if you need ideas. Davin, did I miss anything on the key points?
No, I just wanted to touch a little bit on that last one. Is last few years I've been running a lot of field schools for students, and that cohort building is really important. And so giving them an opportunity to meet the other students and kind of connect. You could think about like having times during the summer where they all get together, or at least, virtually if they're located in different locations throughout your state. Just, keep that cohort activity going. They'll get it through our professional development webinars, but also just making sure they continue to connect and discuss and talk. And it's really just a wonderful way for students to build ideas, and to really work, think about what they're learning over the course of the summer. So, and then they get to show it off on August 5th through the presentation. And that's my favorite part, by the way, is just seeing like the diversity of projects the students did throughout the summer, from a student who's actually an artist, to a student at a social science project, to a student in New York City that's getting their feet wet, in the mud of the rivers around them that they never thought they would actually be doing, living in an urban environment. So it's just a wonderful experience to get to do that, and that's where the mentors really can join us for and get to experience that as well. So let us know if you have any questions. Please go ahead and put them in the chat or just raise your hand.
The link to the spreadsheet is right at the top. I'm going to repost it in. Okay, good to go.
There was a question about this adding it to the spreadsheets. If it's a program that's not offered more regularly. Yes, if your program is being offered this summer, please add it. It will include your students.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, if there's no other questions, our emails are there. And
Devin,
yeah, go ahead.
we still don't have the link to the spreadsheet. It's not coming up in chat. Oh, here it is now. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think the internet at VIMS recently was a little questionable. Does anyone have any other questions about the program?
Okay. Well, just wanted to thank you for your time, and thanks for supporting undergraduate students, or your interest in supporting undergraduate students. This is one of the best parts of my job. And so thank you very much. And please do include, we'll send out some more information. If you'd like to participate in the Community Engaged Internship Committee, let us know.
Thanks everybody for coming.